work of the South African National Defence Force is being hampered by budget cuts and poor financial management. Just recently, the SANDF said it couldn't deploy its members to protested areas due to capacity constraints. It's understood that the situation is so bad that the force in some instances even battles to afford fuel for some of its vehicles. Political parties are now calling for the SANDF to be prioritized for the safety of the country's citizens. For this, let's bring in UDM leader Bantu Holomisa, who's live to us via our video link this morning. General, it's great to have you on the program once again. Thanks very much indeed for speaking to us. Let's begin by just outlining some of your concerns around what we now know about the SANDF.
Well, as a person who once served for almost 10 years in the Defence Service Commission, I can confirm that the Department of Defence has on numerous occasions approached the government, the the government of Utah, National Treasury, to say the situation is not looking okay within the defense when it comes to the equipment, especially the army. Of course, the events of the recent past indicate that the SANDF's mandate or focus from protecting us from foreign aggression has somewhat shifted. Here I'm referring to the July 21 July mayhem in KZN and Gauteng, as well as the deployment of our troops during COVID-19 pandemic. So the situation of proper equipment and training of troops in such situation is paramount. For instance, I'm sure you noticed that during the July mayhem, you saw our troops roaming the streets of Durban with tanks. Imagine, that was a laughing stock from military point of view, where you go and fight in a built-up area, driving a tank, and instead of being on the ground, protecting the police with proper equipment. So for many years now, the Defence Force, as I've said, have been knocking at the door of the cabinet for funding. Instead, the ANC government failed it.
Sure.
So the Defence Force is to be involved in fighting crime. If the Defence Force is to be involved in fighting crime, then that means it would be better if purpose-built equipment is provided to them,
sure,
as well as training.
And we'll speak about that in just a moment, because I know there's also a debate about whether or not the army should be in communities because of a whole host of reasons. But you say the Defence Force has been in the state for quite some time. Why is that? Because on the one hand, we're hearing that it is because of budget cuts, but there's also allegations of poor financial management.
Well, it's based on the fact that in 1998, the Defence Force Review opted to shift away from real security and spending security. Rather, it shifted to social security, meaning therefore we had to help the poor and with grants and so on. But unfortunately, decision was good at the time, because we didn't expect, even today, we are not expecting any conventional warfare with our neighbors or a foreign aggression. But I think, given that the situation has changed, the budget should be made tailor-made to suit the current situation. Issues of corruption in the defense, yes, we have seen that, but not all the troops are corrupt. But the situation there needs a little bit of attention from the authorities. That is, how do you appoint commanders at the top? Do these people know what they are doing? Are they highly trained? Another situation which has which is foreign to the military personnel of South Africa, is that of appointing civilians on key strategic positions like the accounting officer to be in charge of the defense, wherein they know nothing about the defense issues. So in other countries, yes, secretaries of defense, civilian oversight, it works because most of the people who occupy those positions have been trained militarily in those countries. But in our situation, these are the deployees who are clueless about the military.
Sure. Let's speak about whether or not the military should be involved in communities to the extent that we often resort to that. I mean, even just recently, residents along the West Rand in Johannesburg have been calling for the military to be deployed there after the gang rape of those 8 women. But in the past, there's also been similar instances where the military has intervened, including, for instance, in the Cape Flats. Residents there were then upset with the kind of involvement that the military had. We can cast our memories even further back in Alexander, where Collins Khoza was killed by the military. Part of what we're told is the reason why things don't always work out is because the military hasn't been built to be in communities, at least for a long period of time. What does that mean in the context of these constraints about how much we should rely on the military to intervene at the community level to solve things like crime?
Well, we need to review the situation around the question of our criminal intelligence gathering. Our police, our state intelligence, is it necessary really that the situation would have gone to this far that you would have to ask for soldiers to be involved in the first instance? But you know that the state intelligence, as well as the police criminal intelligence, there's infighting there. They are too much involved in politics. Now you have to go and mop up, the defense has to go and mop up that mess. So what we need to do here, if I were to advise in the spirit of non-interference, is that the defense, the National State Security Council needs to coordinate the intelligence, because the soldiers are not going to go easily to these places. That's why they take time, even if the president has signed, has approved that they be deployed. That's why they take time to deploy, because they have to assess the situation themselves. So you will find that the intelligence structures in this country, they are operating in silos. So there is a need, therefore, to close ranks. Maybe there is not even a need to deploy the police, the army, but it's the approach. If the people are complaining about lack of service delivery, why must you bring police in the first instance on that? Why must you bring army into that? Instead of police saying, okay, hold on, we will call the mayor, we will call Minister X. These people are just earning big monies without working.
Sure. Really concerning that. Hopefully we find our solutions rather sooner than later. General Bantu Holomisa, thanks for your time and your take on this. Really do appreciate it on the AM report. Bantu Holomisa, of course, is the leader of the UDM.